Every great technology boom begins with a beautiful promise. A promise that the world is about to change. A promise that old limits are disappearing. A promise that productivity will rise, costs will fall, and a new economy will be born. Railroads promise to shrink distance. Electricity promised to power modern life. The internet promised to connect everyone. And now AI promises something even stranger. Intelligence on demand. A machine that can write, code, reason, summarize, generate, translate, design, assist, automate, and maybe one day act on our behalf. That is the promise. But every promise attracts capital, and every wave of capital creates a question. Are we watching the next industrial revolution? Or are we watching a bubble? This is the question everyone is asking about AI. And the honest answer is uncomfortable. It may be both. AI can be a real industrial revolution and still have a bubble inside it. That is not a contradiction. That is usually how history works. The problem is that investors often want a clean answer. They want to know, is AI real or is AI hype? But that is the wrong question. Railroads were real, and railroad bubbles were real. Electricity was real, and electricity speculation was real. The internet was real, and the dot-com bubble was real. The technology can change the world, while many of the investments around it still fail. So the real question is not, is AI a bubble? The better question is, where is the bubble? And where is the revolution? Because they are not always in the same place. A bubble happens when capital moves faster than reality, when expectations move faster than cash flow, when valuations move faster than adoption, when everyone can see the future, but no one knows who will actually earn the profits. An industrial revolution happens when a technology changes the structure of production, when it changes how work gets done, when it lowers costs, when it creates new businesses, when it becomes infrastructure, when it stops being exciting and starts becoming necessary. AI is already showing signs of both. On one side, the build-out is enormous. Data centers are rising. Power demand is increasing. Hyperscalers are spending hundreds of billions. Chips are sold before they are delivered. Energy contracts are becoming strategic. Every company wants to say it has an AI strategy. Every investor wants exposure to the theme. This is the bubble side. The money is moving very fast, sometimes faster than the proof. But on the other side, the usage is real. People are using AI every day. Students use it. Developers use it. Designers use it. Writers use it. Investors use it. Doctors, lawyers, marketers, analysts, founders, researchers, and small business owners are all experimenting with it. For many people, AI is no longer science fiction. It is already part of the workflow. This is the revolution side. The behavior has changed. The question is whether the economics will follow. That is where this story becomes complicated, because consumer adoption and enterprise productivity are not the same thing. A person using AI to write an email is adoption. A company using AI to permanently reduce costs, increase revenue, and improve margins is productivity. The first can happen quickly, the second takes longer. This is why the AI debate feels so intense. The visible usage is exploding, but the measurable return on investment is still uneven. Some companies are finding real value. Others are stuck in pilots, demos, experiments, and internal enthusiasm. That gap is important, because revolutions do not become economically meaningful just because people are impressed. They become meaningful when workflows change, when budgets change, when hiring changes, when margins change, when customers pay, when the technology becomes embedded into the operating system of business. Until then, the market is not pricing what AI is today. It is pricing what AI might become. And that is where bubbles are born. Not from fake technology, but from real technology with uncertain timing. This is one of the most dangerous parts of investing. A future can be true and still be overpriced. A technology can be transformative and still destroy capital for many investors. A company can be important and still be a bad investment at the wrong price. The internet did change the world. But many internet stocks went to zero. Telecom networks did matter. But too much fiber was built too early. Railroads transformed commerce. But many railroad investors lost money. The lesson is not that technology booms are fake. The lesson is that being right about the future is not enough. You also have to be right about timing, price, winners, business models, and capital discipline. That is why AI is so hard to judge. The technology is improving quickly, but the infrastructure is expensive. The models are impressive, but the revenue models are still evolving. The usage is growing, but the profit pools are not yet fully clear. The largest companies can spend aggressively, but even they need returns eventually. And if everyone builds capacity at the same time, not everyone can win. This is called the fallacy of composition. What works for one company may not work for every company. One hyperscaler can build massive AI infrastructure and earn attractive returns. But if every hyperscaler builds massive AI infrastructure at the same time, the industry may create too much capacity, too much competition, and too much pressure on pricing. One company can rent out compute profitably, but if everyone tries to rent out compute, margins may compress. One AI startup can justify huge compute spending if it becomes a dominant platform. But if hundreds of startups need subsidized compute and only a few become sustainable, then part of the demand may disappear. This is how a real technology can create an investment bubble. Not because the technology is useless, but because the capital stack assumes too many winners. AI may become essential, but that does not mean every AI company will be valuable. AI may increase productivity, but that does not mean every data center will earn high returns. AI may become a new infrastructure layer, but that does not mean every investor will be rewarded. This distinction matters, because the market often treats a theme as if it were a single trade. AI goes up, AI goes down, AI is real, AI is fake. But the real world is more selective. There will be layers. Some layers may capture enormous value. Some layers may become commoditized. Some layers may be overbuilt. Some layers may be regulated. Some layers may be strategically necessary, but financially unattractive. And some layers may quietly become the real winners. Think about the AI stack. At the bottom, there is power. Land, transmission, cooling, chips, memory, networking, data centers, cloud platforms, foundation models, AI applications, enterprise workflows, agents, distribution, user trust, customer willingness to pay. Each layer has different economics. The question is not just whether AI grows. The question is, who captures the value as AI grows? This is where investors need discipline. In every boom, the most visible layer is not always the most profitable layer forever. During the gold rush, many people say the safe money was in selling picks and shovels. But even picks and shovels can become competitive. Even infrastructure can be overbuilt. Even dominant suppliers can face margin pressure if customers build alternatives. Even cloud platforms can struggle if usage grows but pricing falls. Even model companies can struggle if inference costs stay high and users do not pay enough. So instead of asking whether AI is a bubble, we should ask a more precise set of questions. First, is there real usage? In AI, the answer is yes. People are using it, developers are using it, consumers are using it, students are using it, businesses are experimenting with it. Usage is not the weak point. Second, is there real willingness to pay? Here, the answer is mixed. Some users pay, some enterprises pay, some developers pay. Some AI products are becoming part of budgets. But much usage is still subsidized, bundled, discounted, or offered as a feature inside existing products. The world loves cheap intelligence. The harder question is how much it will pay for it. Third, is AI improving productivity? Again, the answer is mixed. At the individual level, yes. Many people write faster, code faster, summarize faster, research faster, and create faster. But at the company level, productivity is harder. Enterprises need integration, security, data access, workflow redesign, employee training, procurement, change management, compliance, measurement. This is why AI can feel revolutionary to one person and disappointing inside a large organization. A tool can help an individual quickly, but transforming a company takes systems. Fourth, are the economics sustainable? This may be the biggest question. AI requires compute. Compute requires chips. Chips require data centers. Data centers require power. Power requires infrastructure. And all of this requires capital. If the cost of serving AI falls faster than demand grows, AI can become more profitable and more widely used. But if competition pushes prices down before utilization and revenue mature, then some infrastructure may struggle to earn returns. This is why cost per token matters. Utilization matters. Inference margins matter. Return on invested capital matters. It is not enough to build the machine. The machine has to pay for itself. Fifth, are we seeing productivity or just capex? This is the line between industrial revolution and bubble. Capex can create the appearance of growth. One company spends, another company receives revenue. A supplier reports strong sales. Investors extrapolate demand. The ecosystem looks healthy. But if the final customer does not generate enough value, the chain eventually weakens. In other words, AI infrastructure spending is not the same as AI productivity. The revolution requires the second. The bubble can survive for a while on the first. This is why the next few years matter so much. The AI industry has already built the narrative. Now it has to build the evidence. Evidence that AI agents can do useful work. Evidence that enterprises can deploy AI at scale. Evidence that customers will pay for inference. Evidence that data centers can stay highly utilized. Evidence that AI reduces costs or increases revenue. Evidence that the productivity gains show up somewhere real. In margins, in output, in speed, in new products, in smaller teams doing larger work, in scientific discovery, in better software, in better healthcare, in more efficient operations. Without that evidence, AI will still be impressive. But the investment cycle will become fragile. Because markets can tolerate uncertainty for a while. They cannot tolerate infinite spending without returns forever. This is where the Industrial Revolution analogy becomes useful. Industrial revolutions are not clean. They are messy. They involve speculation, overbuilding, fraud, genuine breakthroughs, terrible investments, great companies, failed companies, public excitement, public disappointment, political tension, infrastructure bottlenecks, labor disruption, and eventually, normalization. At first, the technology feels magical, then it feels overhyped, then it becomes disappointing, then it quietly becomes useful, then it becomes invisible. That is often the path. Electricity was once a spectacle. Now, it is a utility. The internet was once a speculative frontier. Now, it is the background of daily life. AI may follow a similar path. The question is not whether the hype will cool. It probably will. The question is what remains after the hype cools. If what remains is just expensive infrastructure and weak monetization, then this was mainly a bubble. If what remains is a new productivity layer embedded across the economy, then this was the messy beginning of an industrial revolution. My view is that AI is not one thing. It is a general-purpose technology. That means it can spread across many industries. But general-purpose technologies take time. Electricity did not transform factories the moment it was invented. Factories had to be redesigned. Workflows had to change. Machines had to be reorganized. Managers had to learn new systems. The internet did not instantly create the modern digital economy. Payments, logistics, broadband, smartphones, cloud computing, advertising systems, and user behavior all had to mature. AI will likely be the same. The model is only the beginning. The real transformation requires workflow redesign, data integration, agent infrastructure, better interfaces, trust, regulation, cost reduction, and new business models. This means the early years can look disappointing if people expect immediate economic miracles. But disappointment does not automatically mean failure. It may mean the technology is ahead of the organization. The tools are ready before the institutions are ready. The models are improving faster than companies can adapt. The infrastructure is being built before demand is fully monetized. That is exactly where both bubbles and revolutions live, in the gap between possibility and reality. For investors, this means the right posture is neither blind excitement nor cynical dismissal. Blind excitement says, AI will change everything, so price does not matter. That is dangerous. Cynical dismissal says, some AI projects have no ROI, so the whole thing is fake. That is also dangerous. The better posture is selective belief. Believe in the technology. Be skeptical of the economics. Believe in the long-term shift. Be careful with near-term valuation. Believe that AI may become infrastructure. But ask who owns the bottleneck, who captures the margin, who has pricing power, who funds the build-out, and who earns the return. This is not fear. This is discipline. Because in a real industrial revolution, the goal is not to buy every symbol of the future. The goal is to understand how the future becomes cash flow. That is the hard part. Not identifying the theme. Everyone can identify the theme. The hard part is identifying the durable economics inside the theme. So is AI a bubble or the next industrial revolution? My answer is, the technology looks like the beginning of an industrial revolution. The capital cycle looks like it contains a bubble. Both can be true. The models are real. The usage is real. The infrastructure is real. The productivity potential is real. But the spending is enormous. The monetization is uneven. The winners are not fully clear. And the market may be assuming that more players will win than reality can support. That is the tension. AI may change everything, but everything changes is not an investment thesis. The investment thesis has to be more specific. Which layer captures value? Which company has durable pricing power? Which infrastructure is scarce? Which demand is real? Which revenue is recurring? Which product saves time, money, or labor? Which capex becomes productivity? Which intelligence becomes work? And which work becomes profit? That is where the truth will be. Not in the slogans, not in the panic, not in the hype, but in the conversion. Compute into tokens, tokens into work, work into productivity, productivity into cash flow. That is the bridge AI must cross. If it crosses that bridge, then today's infrastructure may become the foundation of a new economy. If it does not, then part of this boom will be remembered as another beautiful machine built ahead of demand. Either way, the story is not small. Because even bubbles can build the railroads of the future. And even revolutions can punish investors who arrive at the wrong price. So maybe the question is not, is AI a bubble or the next industrial revolution? Maybe the better question is, can we tell the difference between the bubble around AI and the revolution inside it? For education and reflection only, not financial advice.